Hi folks, this is Jason from mrthebigman.com. I just want to take you through a piece of work that I've just done recently in Advantage. Advantage was a track that I wrote years ago with a friend of mine that we released in one of the first records that I did after leaving the band I was in at the time. 10 years ago, last month in August. So I wanted to mark that with building a new remix for it so that I could use it in my own DJ sets as a part of the Absurd Underground. So I want to take you through each part of it step by step. First part really is fairly straightforward. At a bass line, the actual bass line itself was played on an original bass, but I've had an idea for a variation on the bass line for a couple of weeks, and just sat down one night in front of Logic and just played it. So you'll see it at the bottom here. It's fairly standard, it's nothing too hard. I'm using the ESM, which is just the monophonic synthesizer that you get with Logic. So I'm going to play it for you now. And it was this bass line and this progression of the bass line that I used to underpin the rest of the track. So from there I went and did some loops, from there I went and did the actual violin parts, and then began to build everything after that. So I'll let you hear it now, and then after that we will move on to the actual loop portion of it, and I'll show you how to create loops within Guru, and go on from there. Okay, so the next part of it I wanted to look at was the actual the loops that we managed to build against the actual bass line. Remember the bass line from the last time, so started building some loops above it. They sounded a lot like this. And I pulled those from Guru, so I use Guru quite a lot from F Expansion. So this is the one basically that was before Geist, and Geist has been used by I think everyone, to be honest with you, but it's something that I like and I use myself, but to be honest I prefer this just for the easy use. And basically what I've been doing with this is looking for loops, etc., to try and make them fit in against it, and whenever I find a loop I'm dragging out the MIDI information and then bouncing it down into another file. So I found one that I really like here, so I'm going to play it. And that sounds like that. What I'm going to do then is this lit up area here, you just drag and hold, and it will pull out all of the MIDI information for that file, and you'll see that below down here. And that basically gives us the opportunity then to make minor adjustments and minor movements, just almost like a Rex file. In this case I'm not really worried about that, I just want to get it to audio, and if I need to worry about it later I'll just cut it out. So I'll right click on that and click bounce in place. How you do this in other DAWs will be slightly different, but you'll get the idea. And then I'll choose to put it on a new track and leave the source where it is. And then whenever you click on OK, it will give you a processed version of that sound, but in audio. Now I've already done that on this track here, so I'm going to play it now to let you hear it. And that's pretty much how you get loops out of Guru. So I'll go through my entire library here, looking for stuff that will fit, and then cut it up and work with it whenever it becomes audio. Okay, and lastly then with the initial setup or the initial build of this particular track, I wanted to get the melodics in. I tend to write quite a lot using pianos and using strings because I like the tonal characteristics of them, the harmonics of them. And they tend to make it easier for me to write in chords because I can tend to hear every single note, whereas playing on synths I maybe can't pick out everything, so I don't know exactly what works and what does. But in relation to the bass line, I know my root note and I know exactly where I need to play. So before I actually play each line separately, to let you hear it, I want you to see that I'm using Kontakt 4 for this. It's within the factory selection, so you get some of the VSL strings, and in this case I've got a cello loaded, I've got a violin ensemble, and I've got a solo violin as well that's playing the main melody. So the cello end of it is playing the more bassier aspect. The ensemble is playing an octave higher, and then the solo violin is playing a solo within that. So I'll play each part of it separately to let you hear it, and then I'll play the whole thing together, and you'll get an idea then of exactly how it works. So I'm just going to mute these off. I'm going to put them against the bass line as well so that you can hear it playing. So here comes the cello first. So as you can hear, that's just pretty much playing against the root notes. So the next one will be the ensemble. Now again, it's an octave higher than that one. Again, playing against the root notes. So we're using exactly the same MIDI for these, but just moving it up a little bit. And then we have the solo string. Now, this goes on for quite a bit. I'm going to let you hear the first part of it, but I'm actually going to play the full ensemble then whenever I finish off explaining how everything's working. So here's the main violin here. So whenever they all go together, they create a full passage. That runs over 16 bars, and that runs along with the actual loop files. So I'll run the loop files with this as well, just to let you hear the loops, and then we will go from there. And that's the melodic aspect of the initial build. In the next video then, we'll move on to having a look at how I built all of the atmospheres in the huge ensemble part at the very start. We'll break that down, looking at using Absinthe, the sounds within that, and the sound design within that. And I'll also take a look at creating send buses in order to be able to put reverb and delay and stuff like that on the tracks from there. So I'll speak to you again soon, and thanks very much for watching.